Hey YouTube, I am Tiberius and you're about to watch an edited recording of a Twitch stream. You can check out my Twitch using the link in the video description. If you enjoy the content, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. Thank you and enjoy the video. Okay, so we're going to use AutoRecon, which unfortunately I need to do this for AutoRecon now. But that should be fine. Good. All right. I need to open VS Code.
Received. Dispensing gratitude. Gratitude dispensed.
Bad Moles, thank you so much for the sub for 7 months resubscription. Thank you so much. Let me add you to the list of spins. Where are we? Ha-natraj. Here we go. All right, so we have some. Let me actually do what I was going to say. Bad Moles. Cool. All right. So we have Nmap running on the SSH. The only reason I look at the SSH is for this section here, supported authentication methods. Basically, what this tells me, hey, is if you have a public key, you can authenticate, but also if you have a password, you can authenticate. Sometimes you'll only be able to use a public key. Sometimes you'll only be able to use a password. It's useful to know. But in this case, if we find either, we'll be fine. Okay, TCP 80. Look at the curl request. Looks kind of complicated. This is WordPress? I don't think so. I just saw the W3 and wondered. Okay, we'll look at the site in a minute. Ferox Buster is finding a bunch of stuff. We only are interested in the 200s for now. There's a lot of images. And it looks like there's just, right now, there's just an index.html, but also there's a redirect to a console. So what we'll do, we'll open a browser in Burp. This is Burp Suite Pro. And we will go to port 80. And we'll go to console. Okay. Interesting. Let's go back and see what the... Did this have anything useful in it? These aren't actual links. They're basically just... they're like internal links, I should say. They link to sections of the HTML document. Powered by hacking articles. Created and owned by hacking articles. Okay. First time? Yeah, probably. So I assume what we need to do here is find some kind of... like maybe it's file equal... What am I doing? File equals Etsy hostname or something. Okay. All right, I swear I haven't read this box. But that just seemed too obvious. Oh man. Thank you, Adonis Stasio, for the Prime sub. You know what this means, chat? I'm sorry, I did not mean to do that. You know what this means? This is a PHP application. This is very likely a file include. So we can try filters. Let's do filter resource equals... actually, we won't do resource. We'll do convert.base64 dash encode resource equals file.php. Okay, good. So this is the contents of this file, so we can see it here. So yeah, it's literally... If the file parameter is set, include the file, otherwise include index. And apparently index has nothing in it. Cool. Okay, so if you are new to the stream, and if you haven't watched Al's stream recently, because I taught Al this, PHP filters are completely broken. You used to be able to... Well, I should probably explain what a PHP filter is. So let's copy this source code. Oops. So I'm just going to copy all of this. We will copy it to here. We'll do new. Okay, so this is PHP code. Very simply, what this does, it looks for the URL parameter file. It basically just says it's a get parameter. Assigns it to a variable called file. If this file variable is set, basically if it has some value, right? So if the file parameter is there in the URL, it then uses this include function on the file. Okay, now the include function is special. Basically, it will read whatever file you give it, file path you give it, and it will also, if that file it contains any kind of PHP code, it'll execute it, and it will return the result to the response, basically. Okay, so in this case we had let's go back here. Etsy hostname, I just gave it, and obviously the Etsy hostname file has Ubuntu in it. Etsy password, we can grab all this. Potentially because include, so what include is, it's extremely dangerous because, especially if you can just pass it a raw value. See how nothing's being prepended here, right? Sometimes you'll have stuff like var dub dub, can't even type, var dub dub dub, something like that, right? Which basically is still vulnerable because you can obviously do directory traversal. Like if you set file to something like ... right, then you could get immediately to the root directory. However, without it, if you've just got basically this, you can potentially pass URLs to it. So that's something we'll do. What's my IP address? I'm just going to do... actually, do I have me installed? No. Grab my IP address here. And if I do HTTP... Okay, no. So, luckily, it's not configured to load resources like that. Potentially, and I don't think this is true in this case, though, you can do data. So I forget how it's, I think it's text plain. I'm gonna have to forget about it. I believe since you can't do the remote stuff, data isn't going to work. Data tag, not tag, URI. Oh god, oh, I got to Google it now. Data URI scheme. Okay, data colon. Okay, I just had it backwards. It's just text plain and then a comma, right? So it's this and then a comma and then whatever you want to do, right? Or is it a colon? Yes, okay. So like test, right? So sometimes that'll work. I wonder if I've actually got an example. I believe I do. Let me just, oops. I think it's include. Include.php. Why is it redirecting? Okay, that's not good. Let's just do it using burp. Localhost port 80 get /include.php HTTP 1.1 host localhost. Failed to connect. Okay, so the reason that might not work is because I guess I have my Apache not started. Okay. Include, okay, so it's get file. Let's see, hostname. Cali, okay. Data, text, plain, comma, test. Doesn't work. I think I need to Apache 2. Not Apache 2, sorry, PHP. This, I need to turn this on. And probably then just restart Apache. Which usually you have to do stop start.
Thank you for following.
There we go. So if you set that to you set this allow URL include to on, you can do this weird wacky stuff. And you should also be able to do something stupid like PHP PHP info. Yeah, there you go. All right, so that's another trick using the data string. It's rare though, and obviously, you know, if you have that URL thing enabled, you can just include remote files. But like, say that the URL, say that you could pass it URLs, right? But there was some internal firewall which is stopping outbound connections. You know, that'd be some way of doing it. That's actually a good idea for a box. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal it from myself. Data is so yeah. The data tag is actually universal. It's very useful actually because you can encode, like in this example, you can encode entire files because it has this optional base64 flag, right? So let me show you a good example. Actually, let's say I wanted to do this again, but I don't want this string in the URL. I don't want to do this PHP crap. Okay, so what I would do, I would take that, I would go to Hackverter, I would paste it in, I would take out these pluses which were only there because URL encoding. I would do a base64, and then I would go back here and I would set semicolon base64 and then paste that in, and we get the same thing. Okay, so you can basically base64 any kind of file, and then set what the data type is. And in this way, this is actually how a lot of websites work these days in terms of small images. So if you don't want if you have a lot of small images, right, but you don't want your website to, like, you don't want a person's web browser to send 100 different HTTP requests to grab each individual image, you can literally just use a data tag. Like, this is the thing, right? Image src. So it's basically encoding the image as base64, and then the source, instead of being an HTTP URL, is this data URI. And web browsers will recognize this. They'll take this base64 encoded value, they'll decode it, and they'll display it as an image. Super useful, except in PHP, because PHP is awful, you can do this random crap with it. Okay, but it doesn't look like you could do that here. So, although actually I probably shouldn't have just done that. Yeah, okay, there we go. You can't do it. However, there are other things you can do in PHP with this include tag, because if we look up the include tag, so the include function, you can pass it. They're like an example. Basically, you pass it a file path. Okay. However, you can give it URIs. So you can give it HTTP URLs if they're supported. You can give it FTP. In fact, you can give it quite a lot. And if we have a look at the supported protocols and wrappers, we'll see there's the file one, which probably, to be honest, works the same way. So if we do file etc password, I imagine. Yep. Okay. So the file URI works. HTTP, I said. PHP, sorry, FTP, we've got data, which I've covered. We can do fars, expect stuff. The PHP, though, PHP is a specific scheme, and it's kind of broken. So in PHP, you can basically build these filter strings. And effectively what this does is you can combine a bunch of filters together. So filters are effectively ways of interpreting and reinterpreting the file. And then at the end, you pass it a resource or a read or whatever. And it will give you back the resource with all the filters applied. So for instance, the one I did was, hang on. I did PHP, right? And then filter. And then I did a convert. This is a filter.base64, so base64-encode, right? Resource equals file.php. Okay? So all this did was it took the file.php, basically itself, and it did a base64 encode on it. And it presented it back. Okay? Which is how we could read the source code. If I didn't have this, if I just had that, I believe it'll probably go into a infinite loop because it's just going to be executing file.php's code, which will in turn execute this. Yeah, infinite loop. So we don't want to do that. However, there is a really cool attack, which Al showed the other day, I think. If I go into Tools, Web, PHP filter chain generator, right? Python PHP filter chain generator. So I won't explain it because it's extremely complicated, but effectively there are certain filters, right? There are certain of these conversions which when you do them, they append, or so they prepend arbitrary bytes. And if you string enough of these conversions together, you can prepend every single base64 encoded possible byte, effectively. Which means with enough of the conversions stringed together, and believe me, you have to string a lot of them together, you can effectively write data to the start. Not that you're not really writing data to the file itself, but you're writing data to the contents of the file which PHP has already loaded. So PHP will load the data from the file, and by constantly converting stuff, it will prepend bytes to the data that's already stored in memory.
New
So
subscription received. Dispensing gratitude.
Badmos,
Gratitude
thank you.
dispensed.
Thank you for the gift sub.
New
Welcome to
subscription
Copeak, and it looks like we've hit
Dispensing
our
gratitude.
sub goal.
Gratitude dispensed.
Thank you very much. So I'll just make a note of that. We're going to do a giveaway, and I will. I'll boost the goal up again, I guess. Start new goal. Okay, so to show you an example, right? Let's just do A, right? So if we just want to write the letter A, this is what we need to do. Just for the letter A. And obviously I need to probably URL encode it. So I need to tail. This, by the way, this URL code function is a custom script I have. I'll share that actually. So if we copy that and we go back here, hopefully it's going to work. It does. Now you'll notice, chat, it does write more stuff, but there is an A there. And that's all we care about. Okay? This, by the way, this resource that I loaded, you'll see here, resource, PHP temp. This is really important. This basically means you don't have to specify any specific file, though you can. We could have just done etc hostname. As you see, it's completely garbled the hostname. But we can do that. We could even do etc password. And again, it's garbled the contents because remember, it's constantly re-encoding stuff. It's doing all these conversions, so you get nonsense at the end. But the only point that matters is we get an A here. Okay, So because this is being passed to an include function, we can actually write PHP code. So actually, if we just do this, PHP info, right? So again, we need this much data for an A. We need this much data just to show PHP info, execute it, right? So the real drawback of this method is that if you do eventually hit a URL limit, you're screwed. But luckily, to get very basic command execution, you don't usually need many bytes, okay? So if we render that, there we go. We now have code execution on this server. This might not even be the way we're supposed to do it, by the way, but we're gonna do it anyway. I was gonna share that URL encode thing. So. Okay, that's cat bin URL encode. Let me put it in a paste bin actually. You probably don't want that in there. You guys can figure that bit out. But this is a Python script. Create new paste. Okay. So I just have it in my the bin directory in my home, and I have a thing in my ZSH to basically just load everything in bin into the path. So I can just do URL encode. Actually, no, I don't think I do that. I have an alias, I think, right? Yeah, I have an alias. So if I go to my ZSH config, all the way down. Here we go. This line here, URL encode, Python 3, all the way there. Okay. Okay, so the easiest way to do command execution via PHP is this. This is the shortest method that I know. So effectively, we use this shorthand PHP opening tag with the equals, which basically just means output the result of whatever we say here, and then we surround a get with backticks. The backticks basically will do a shell exec, I believe, and the only thing in the get array is a 0. Okay, and it can be anything really. It can technically be a letter, but you might get errors. If you put it to 0, all that means is you have to use a URL parameter called 0. All right, so we'll see what that does. All right, so we get this. Okay, and if I now build that. Okay, so if I just do it, it's not going to do anything, right? However, if I do an ampersand 0, right, equals ID, and now we have command execution. Okay. If anyone has any questions, by the way, let me know. So now what we're going to do is we're going to catch a reverse shell, and I probably should do the reverse shell, rev shell gen. So I need to get my IP address, 192.168.4994. So we have this command, which I'm going to use. So again, I'm just going to replace this here. Oh, I should have probably URL encoded it, but I can do it here. Hopefully this will work. It did. Okay.
We are in.
Does include once work the same? Yes, and so does require and require once. There are basically a few ways. So if we go back to the include, so require works, include once is probably around here somewhere. Yeah, include once. So the only difference between include and include once is once you've loaded the file using include once, if you try and include that file again somewhere in the same script, it won't do it. Okay? And require, I honestly don't know what the difference is. It's been so long. There's something stupid about the difference. Oh, except upon failure, it will produce a compilation error. So, somebody asked about mitigation for this. Just rewrite the app in something on the PHP. I mean, no, just protect includes. You know, if you are, there are secure ways of including files, right? You can basically you can perform like sanitization, sorry, on the variable being passed. Okay, you can make sure that it's in a specific directory without doing directory traversal. Like you can mitigate against directory traversal attacks. Can you disable it? I'm not sure if you can disable the PHP filter stuff. You can certainly make it impossible to do PHP filters by like prepending something. So the only reason PHP filters works is if you can control the beginning. This is OSS. This is like VS Code, except the free version. Well, not the free version, the open source version. You can also disable icon v. So the whole point of this is it uses this icon v library. You can disable that, but you really shouldn't need to. Okay, so we're on the box. Do we have Python? Do we have Python 3? We do, so we can use Python 3-c import pty. pty.spawn bin bash. I'm hoping bin bash is there actually. And good. Okay, we're good. Control Z, and now I can do stty size. Oops. And I can do stty. Oops. Oh, I'm in caps lock. Why is that not reverse searching? Okay, hang on. stty. There we go. Raw-echo. Okay. Export term equals xterm 256 color. Yeah, so to explain what I was doing there, when I got a shell in the box, it was a very basic shell. Okay, you see, I don't have like a standard username like I have here, right? I was just able to type ID and get a result. So what I did was I used Python 3 to spawn a sudo terminal, okay? And that got me the username, right? Got me actual shell here. However, if I was to press Control-C, or if I was to try tab complete or moving back and forth using the arrow keys, it wouldn't work, okay? So instead, what I need to do is I Control-Z, which backgrounds the process, okay? It backgrounds my NC, because remember, we're all running in this netcat session, okay? So it says suspended. That all that means is it's still running, it's just in the background, right? I then got my terminal size, so this is the size of this window in rows and columns. Sorry, columns and rows. Oops. And I just remembered I didn't actually set them yet. And then I ran this command, stty raw-echo, and then fg. Now this is two separate commands. All this does, right, is it basically says, hey, when you type a command in, it won't echo the command back to you. All right, because effectively the server's still going to be doing that. You don't really need to understand why. It's obvious if you don't do this. And fg just foregrounds the last thing I backgrounded, which was this shell again. Okay. I then export this, which basically just sets my terminal variable, which is useful. And the final thing I need to do is do stty cols, and I use this value here, 172, and stty rows 39. And basically all that means, if I was to load Vim, it would like work nicely, in quotes. Okay, but now I should be able to Control-C. You see, I'm not exiting out. I should be able to do tab completion. Yep. So I can do bin, right? All good. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do actually was we're going to look in this directory and see if there are any files. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so we're good there. There's local.txt. So it looks like we were supposed to get a shell as the web server, which is good. Offensive security flag. Save. Okay, we're halfway there. Let's go into the home directory. Okay, there's 2 users. Let's check out mahakal. We can, because of this X here in the last column, basically we can cd into this directory. Okay, there is a bash history which does have 15 characters, so... Oh, but it's permission denied. Should probably have checked that. So it doesn't look like I can do anything here. So we'll go back and we'll cd into Ha-natraj. Have a look in their directory. Okay, so they have something interesting. Their bash history is zeroed out. But they do have this sudo as admin successful, which means that they probably can sudo. So that's useful to know. But at the moment, it doesn't look like there's anything else we can do with these users. So we'll do sudo-l. Oh dear. It looks like we can do these commands. Interesting. That's going to be interesting because I'm not entirely sure what they want me to do with that. Can we edit like the Apache? I wonder if we can edit the Apache systemctl thing. SUID binaries we can certainly find. So we'll do find U plus S, I think it is. I always get that one wrong. Is it I think it's dash U. Yep. So SUID binaries are binaries which, when you run them, they will execute with the permissions of the owner of the file. All right. But looking through that, doesn't look like there are any that are dangerous. These are all pretty standard. Okay, so I am going to look for files I can write. Writable. Okay, probably should have... don't care about anything in proc. grep-v will basically do an inverse. So basically, I don't want anything that has proc in it. Okay, so... Boring. Yes, GTFO bins we will use. Okay, so we do have this. We can write to the apache2.com, which is useful. So I think... oops. Let me nano this. Okay. So potentially what we can do is... I wonder if we can actually... Let's just use GTFO bins. My thinking right now is that we can tell Apache to run as root instead of www.data. Because the problem is Apache isn't in here. I wonder if we can get Apache config execute command. That's not it. Because the problem is, even if we run Apache as root, I don't think PHP will. We can certainly try, though. Why don't we just try it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment out this, and we're just going to set user root group root. Okay. And we'll write that and exit. And now what we need to do is do a sudo systemctl restart Apache 2. Okay, that killed my shell. Probably should have set up something else. Might have been a bad idea. But it looks like we're still... No, we're not still good. Crap, did I just completely destroy the box? That would be funny. Whoops. Nmap. Dash pn dash b. Yep, I see the fail coming through. Let's just see. Is the box dead? Yeah, closed. Great. The reason this is happening is because of the STTY thing. Okay, so I messed up. I probably should have got a better shell running. Okay, we will we will restart this box. You know what? We have a giveaway to do, so this was okay. I meant to do this, chat. So we can, again... I'm just going to close this shell. Oops, no. Should probably turn this off, actually, shouldn't I? What's happening here? Okay, I don't... This is just my own box. Cool. All right. So I am going to use netcat again. I think we have the same IP address, so this should still work. It does. Okay, good. Excellent. Python 3 -c import pty pty.spawn bin bash. Okay. Control Z, stty size, stty that, stty cols 172, stty rows 39, export term equals xterm 256 color. Why is it not? There we go. Okay, so now we have the same thing again. All right, so let's get another shell. I need to figure out how to use at. There. Oh, at's not installed. Is that installed on here? Okay, it can't be installed. I can, though. I should be able to edit my cron tab, shouldn't I? Cron tab -e. Okay. What am I doing? Subliminal went splat first. Okay, all right. I thought it was subliminal. All right, subliminal, let me know in chat what you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is...
Thank you for following.
Oops. What am I doing? No, that's all right. I didn't know, to be fair. Okay, so we're gonna basically get a bash shell, I guess. Rev shell gen. We'll just do this again, I guess. Oh, I shouldn't do that one actually. Hang on a minute. Can I just do bash? We'll try this one. Okay. So if I save this, write out, exit. Every minute that should run. So we only have to wait about 20 seconds or so. Okay, that works. Look. So if I do ps-ef, okay, so this is our current shell right here, and its parent is this one, and this parent is root. So the problem we had before was with this shell, right? The parent was 1303. No, sorry. The parent is 484, and 484 is Apache, right? This is how you read this PS output. Okay, so you've got the user that the process is running as, you've got the process ID, and then you've got the parent ID. Okay, Now, what generally happens is when a parent dies, all of its children die. Okay, it's very bleak. There are no such things as orphanages in Linux processes. Okay, if your parent dies, you die as well. So what I did was I restarted Apache, which obviously killed all the Apache processes, and because my shell was running as Apache, yeah, it died. So now though we have this lovely shell that's not running as Apache. It's running as a cron job, and it'll happen every minute as well. So I don't even have to really do anything with this one. Okay, so the problem was editing this Apache config file, wasn't it? Apache 2. So I think what you can do is Apache 2-C. Isn't that a test thing? Or is it -T? Yeah, -T. Okay, so that's fine. So what we'll do instead, we're going to nano the Apache config. Oops, I can't use that anymore. Okay, so let's just try changing the user. These need to be set. Oh, maybe we have to set. No, that's fine. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to write that out and exit, and then I'm going to do this. Oh, here we go. That's probably why. Apache has not been designed to serve pages while running as root. There are known race conditions. If you still desire to serve pages as root, then add deep big security to the cflags environment variable. Then rebuild the server. So this is why we can't do that. Okay, so yeah, we need to run this as another user. So yeah, what we'll do, what am I doing? ls-l/home. Let's run it as this user. Actually, no, which user had sudo? It's this one, right? Oh, jeez. Yeah, subliminal. I've already made a note. Ha-natraj. Okay, so we're going to run it as this user, Ha-natraj. Okay, so I'm going to nano apache 2.conf. How do I search using this stupid thing? Where is user? There we go. Okay. And we'll also do group. I can go up again? No? Okay. Group is Ha-natraj, and I'll comment out this. So this is a good lesson for me and everybody. Oops. Is if you modify Apache 2conf, run Apache 2-T. There we go. Syntax OK is what you want. All right, so now we should be able to do the sudo systemctl restart Apache. It's taken a while. All right, so that will kill this shell, but it shouldn't kill this shell. And indeed, it did not kill that shell. Lovely. So now if we do a psef, Apache 2 is running as Ha-natraj. See? So we should still be able to do this. Good. So now if I create another listener, but this time we'll do 4445. I don't want my cron job connecting back. And I just have to go here. I just have to modify this shell. Okay. Let's see. There, we're running as Ha-natraj. Okay. So I can do this again.
I'm in.
Let's stabilize our shell. No, it will get the group, but since I want to privilege escalate, I want to make sure that I have a group ID as well. Like mostly your user ID will work, but say that there's a file which will run as our group ID, right? We might want our group ID. Spawn bin mash again. Let's do that. Cool. We will control Z it. We will SSTY it. Oops. Okay, and I'll do export term equals xterm 256 color. I'm not going to do the actual resizing. Actually, it doesn't matter really. Okay, so now I can do sudo -l. Needs a password though. Okay. See what we can do as Ha-natraj anyway. Can we do we have write access? Let's try writable. I should do. Okay. Maybe Ha-natraj was not the right one for this. Oh, actually, no, hang on. We have access to this auth.log. I should probably do readable as well, to be fair. Okay. Hang on a minute. Okay, we have access to the auth.log. I wonder what happens. Can we copy it to var dub HTML? We can, okay. So I'm going to download it. There we go. Search for password. Okay. Incorrect password attempt. Okay, so I'm just gonna this might be completely wrong, by the way, but let's grep -v in auth.log. All right. Sometimes you'll see like someone accidentally type their password as their username here. That doesn't look like it is the case. Okay. So what else was there? Let's have a look for readable files. Yeah, we'll do linpeas if this doesn't work. I should probably spell readable correctly. That's probably bad. Okay. Oh, jeez. All right. I'm just going to page down and see. We don't care about anything in sys. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. I'm just going to filter out sys. So, oops. I don't like how slow this terminal is being. Oh God, what's happening? Oh, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, probably because of the columns thing. We should have done the columns. 39172. I think this should work now. If it doesn't, I'll be annoying. There we go. That fixed it. Alright, proc or sys. Okay. Honestly, probably run, but that doesn't seem that's fine. Okay. It might be something completely dumb, like a kernel exploit. So, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to download from my server 192.168.4994 PrivEsc linpeas. Get chmod plus x linpeas. So I try and do everything without linpeas, but sometimes you just have to do it. So I'm basically going to run linpeas with -q, which basically just doesn't print the banner. I'm going to pipe it into T, which basically T will write. I mean, technically it'll append, but whatever. It'll write to linpeas.txt, but it'll also output. They are in the sudo group, but the problem is I don't have their password. So I need to find their password somehow. Or there's an exploit that doesn't require their password. So let's have a look down here. There's this one, but I think this one does require you to have a password, right? It's also possible there is a cronjob of some kind. Okay, there's a DNS server internally, which I don't know if that's going to be anything. The groups, honestly, there aren't. Yeah, sudo is really the only. Is it possible the other use? Certainly, yeah. So we can definitely try that. I just went for the more obvious user, you know? But it's certainly looking like it might be that user. There's nothing obvious here. So okay, we will we'll nano etc apache2 apache2.conf. Oh, I gotta how am I doing? What? Do I need to do this first? Okay, probably do. stdy calls 172. Crap. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah. Well, that didn't work. I'm just gonna exit and then type that, and then we'll do a nc on 44 because I need to get a shell back. So we just need to wait 15 more seconds, unless I can edit this file. Oh, I can. Okay, fair enough. Nano Apache 2. Okay, I just need to figure out what the other guy's shell was. Home. It's mahakal. Okay, so we're going to go here again. Okay, and write that. Exit. We're going to use sudo service ctl, right? No, system. Restart Apache 2, is that it? Yep. So that kills that shell, which is fine. Okay, it's back up. So now we can run. I can reset this. Run nc with the port 4445 again, and send that. And now we are this user. So I will. Oh, whoops. Probably what I didn't do last time. Actually, I didn't spawn a proper shell. Control C. Okay, and stty cols 172, stty rows 39, and export term equals xterm 256 color. Okay, sudo -l. No, for frick's sake. It was bait. It was bait, chat.
Thank you for following.
All right, let's see what version of Nmap. Does Nmap has interactive mode on this? I need to grep. So it doesn't have interactive mode. No. Okay, so there used to be an interactive mode on Nmap. Hey, I showed you some cool stuff. At least we learned some things. We'll do another box as well. All right, Nmap. So there used to be this thing, interactive, which was hilarious because you could just do this. But now what you can do is effectively you can make a Lua script. So Nmap scripts are basically just programmed in Lua, L-U-A. So if you just make a temp directory, which we'll do here, and then if you echo this into the temp directory, okay, I guess I didn't copy that. Okay, and then is that temp directory? Temp file, sorry, that's temp file. So if I echo tf, there's the temp file. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically, you can specify with Nmap a specific script to run. So because we can run Nmap, right? Because we can run Nmap with sudo, like it says up here, here. There we go. Now we're root. Okay, I guess we're not actually showing my it's not showing my commands, but I just seed into the root now. Seed into root now. I'm going to cat the proof.txt. If I can spell. All right, any questions? So we fell down a few rabbit holes, but ultimately we got there. Why the temp file gives root privileges? The temp file doesn't. So it's the fact. Let me exit actually. Come on. There we go. Okay. So if I run sudo -l as mahakal, right, with this user mahakal, it says I can run Nmap as root without a password. Okay. Now, Nmap has script support, right? AutoRecon uses a bunch of Nmap scripts. If I go to the nmap results. Actually, let's just go to commands. View word wrap. Here you go. So these are all the scripts that nmap runs, for instance, against the HTTP servers it discovers. Okay, so in this case, you can give the script parameter a bunch of categories. What am I doing? Categories, right? So I say, hey, run anything that's tagged with banner, or it's got HTTP in the name, but don't run anything that's brute force or against broadcast addresses or denial of service or external, blah, 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 right? But you can also just specify specific scripts to run. Okay? So, what's a good script to run? Actually, let me do... There's like a title one, isn't there? HTTP-title. So if I was to go back here and I do nmap -pn-p80 -- script equals HTTP title. Okay, so it ran nmap against Ha-natraj, and here's the output of the script that I told it to run. Okay, and how it finds this is if you just give it a script name. I don't know if I can use locate. Yeah, I can. Okay, so all the scripts for my nmap file, my nmap installation are here. They're in the user share nmap scripts, right, directory. But if I do this, if I copy this, let's copy this to here, and I edit this file. What do I want to do? Output. So okay, we're going to return instead of an output string, we're going to return please subscribe. Okay. Right, and now if I rerun that, but instead of this HTTP title without this, I'm just going to specify the actual file. Okay, and that didn't work. Why did that not work? Maybe I need to rename the file. Move HTTP title to test or something. Granted, I haven't actually. There we go. Okay, so I guess the name takes precedent here. So I created a new script, right, that just responded with please subscribe in it. However, sup, Al? However, this is just Lua. This is a programming language. I mean, a scripting language, technically. So you can load the OS library into Lua and get command execution.
What is this, Tiberius?
What I'm doing now is I'm explaining nmap scripts because the PrivEsc involved it. So what we did was we created this temporary file. Okay, if I cat this temporary file out, all it does is it uses os.execute bin.sh, right? And then you run nmap, specify this file, and it will spawn bin.sh as root because we were running it through sudo. On the screen are my socials. Please follow me on Twitter, join the Discord server, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course follow me on Twitch to get alerted when I go live. You can also find all these links in the video description.